Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. It's been a while here and it's nice to be here again. In this video today, we shall be discussing how to write our conceptual review. If you can recall the format of the chapter 2 that was given in our previous video, which is our literature review, we said our chapter 2, which is our literature review, consists of 4 sessions. And the first session out of it is our conceptual review. So in this video today, our discussion shall be on introduction on how to write our conceptual review. In subsequent videos, we shall show examples and details on how to easily go about it. Now, when we are talking about conceptual review is a session in your literature review where you are going to discuss all your concepts, all the concepts that makes your work. If you recall, both your dependent and independent variables consist of concepts. Those variables that you identify as your variables of measurement, they are concepts that needed to be discussed on. Now, for instance, in order for you to understand better, let's take for instance that I am working on a topic that has to do with sustainability performance. Sustainability accounting and reporting or sustainability management and the performance of organizations in Nigeria. Remember that this is just an example, and I do not specify some things there directly. Okay, so let's assume that this is my topic. Now from here, it's easy for me to understand that my dependent variable is performance and my independent variable is sustainability management. Okay, sorry. Let's leave it at management. Remember, our variables of measurement under each variable are different, right? For instance, my variables of measurement under my dependent variables are, for performance now, I have number 1, return on assets. Number 2, I have return on equity, that is my ROE. What I have here is ROA, and what I have here is ROE. Let's assume that I am limiting my dependent variable under performance, variable of measurement under performance, to be these 2 variables. And then for my independent variable, my variables of measurement, for my independent variables are, let's assume number 1, I have ESG scores. And number 2, I have ESG disclosures. And now let's assume I have number 3, GHG. Let's assume that I have, GHG. Let's assume I have carbon emission disclosure. Now, these variables of measurement That is the performance you could see here. These variables of measurement that you are seeing here are the concepts that makes up my studies. I just broke down this particular topic you are seeing here. I broke them down into concepts. Do you understand? I broke them down into variables of measurements. And these variables of measurements that you can see here are the concepts that formulate my work. They are the concepts I will be discussing about all through my work. And when I'm writing my conceptual review, that is what I will be working on. That is what I will be that is what I will be working with all through my work, including my introductory aspect, which is my chapter 1. All through my work, that is what I will be working on. So these are the things that makes up the concepts that I will be discussing in my chapter 2. Now, in order to discuss them, there are things we need to follow. There are things we need to note. There are things we need to know while discussing our conceptual review. After writing our chapter 2 and literature review as an heading, then the next thing we are going to write is our conceptual review, which formulates our 2.1. Remember, these two will be centralized. Okay? They will be centralized. And don't mind the way I write it here, they will be in capital letter. Now, after that, this, our literature review, is 2.0. Then we move to our conceptual review, which is 2.1. Now, there are things we need to note while writing our conceptual review. Number 1, whenever we want to write our conceptual review, we start our discussion with our dependent variable. We start our discussion with our dependent variable. Now, let me go back to this example that I have here. This is me here. This is the topic I am working on. This is the topic I am working on. I want to bring this topic to the top here. Okay, copy and cut. Now, let's assume this is my topic here. This is the topic I am working on here, as we can see. And just the way I have broken it down before into different sections. And the number 1 rule says that I must start my discussion with my dependent variable. If you could recall, the dependent variable I have here is performance, and I have variables of measurements for my performance here. Now, if I want to start following the rule, I will have to start with my dependent variable. This is a conceptual review. I will come here. I will have my 2.1.1, and that will be performance as an heading. Then that will be, I will bold it. Then anything I want to discuss, I am going to discuss underneath it. Do you understand? Now, under my performance, I also have another variables of measurements. These are my return on assets and my return on equity. I will also discuss about them. And from there, I will have my 2.1.1.1. And what do I have there now? I will have return on assets. That's another heading. I will bold it there. I will also discuss everything I want to discuss underneath it. Then I'll move to the second one, 2.1.1.2. And what do I have there? Return on equity. I will bold it again. Sorry. That is, I will write everything I want to discuss underneath it. So that ends my discussion on under my dependent variable in my conceptual review. And then I will move to the independent variable. What do I have under my independent variable here? I have sustainability management, right? Okay, that's good. I will have here now 2.1.2. And then sustainability management. And then I will bold it. I will discuss everything I want to discuss under sustainability management. Once I am done discussing everything I want to discuss under sustainability management, I will now pick my variables one after the other. Remember, these variables against one another they are the one that will constitute our objectives. That is in chapter 1. We will soon get there. Now, I will now pick them one after the other to discuss them one after the other. I will have 2.1.2.1. What do I have there? ESG scores. I will discuss everything I can discuss underneath my ESG scores. After I am done discussing, I will move to the next one. And that is 2.1.2.2. And what do I have there? ESG disclosure. I will highlight again and bold it. Then I will discuss everything I want to discuss underneath it. I will now move to the third variables of measurements underneath my underneath my independent variable rather. Then this will be 2.1.2.3. And that will be carbon. Sorry, let me check what I have there. Carbon emissions disclosure. And I will discuss everything I needed to discuss there. I hope we are together, please. So this is the pattern my discussion under my conceptual review is going to look like. And if I have more than 3 variables of measurements for my independent variable, that is how it will continue. And then the pattern will follow. I will keep naming it and the pattern will follow. And I will continue discussing like that. All right, let's move to the second thing we need to take note of. Number 2. We must discuss all the concept that makes our independent variable. We've showed that here. Number 1 says we must discuss all the concept that makes up our dependent variable. That's what we have here. Performance. And underneath performance, we have return on assets. We have return on equity. Then underneath my independent variable is sustainability management. And what do I have underneath my independent variable? Which are my variables of measurement? I have ESG disclosure, ESG scores, and carbon emission disclosure. We are going to discuss them in details. Now, the main issue now lies with how we make our discussion. How do we write our discussion under different kind of headings and subheadings? That is where we need our writing skills, and that is where the real work really lies. All right, let's continue. In writing, there is one thing we need to understand most, and that is our ability to read and understand what we want to write on. Our ability to read and understand what we are writing on will enable us to easily relate with whatsoever we want to write and talk about. It will enable us to avoid the issue of plagiarism. And what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is a situation whereby you take the work of another person, you copy it verbatim, and put it inside your own work without paraphrasing. The issue of plagiarism is called academic fraud, and it is a very grievous issue and matter when it comes to academia rather. So whenever you are writing, you must read to understand. And once you read to understand, whenever you are writing any concepts, you must start with your understanding on the concepts. Start with your own understanding on the concept. What do you understand on the definition on the concept? What do you understand about that concept? At least your first paragraph, even if it's not more than 2 lines or 3 lines, must be your own understanding on that concept before you now start introducing what other authors has said. Do you understand? For instance, I have performance here. I want to write something on performance. Now, what do I understand on performance? Let's assume that my understanding of performance of organization is that it reveals how healthy an organization is, the health, the strength of an organization, if that is my own understanding. Now I will write, every organizations consistently seek to improve their performance, which shows the health of their operational activities and reviews their ability to keep existing in the future. Now, if this is my understanding on performance, I will now bring, according to Adebowale 2018 or 2021, performance of organizations reflects is the financial health of, or let me say, is the financial strength of an organization. I hope you can see. I started with my own understanding on what performance is. Do you understand? And then I now begin to bring existing works, what other people have said concerning performance. I now begin to bring them inside what I am trying to discuss. Now, once I am done with this like this, probably there is another one that there is another author that said something in similar to this. And I introduce, I say, in the same way, Olarewaju 2022 opined that performance is vital in showing the health of an organization, which enables them to keep attracting investors. Now, after doing this, I will go ahead and look at what do I understand that this A is saying, that this B is saying. Do you understand? Once I understand what A is saying and B is saying, I will now bring together. For instance, now, I understand Adebowale 2021 reveals to me that performance of an organization is the financial strength of the organization. And Olarewaju makes me to understand that performance is vital in the health of an organization because it enables them in attracting investors. I will now say that financial, this is now what I understand from what has been said. I will now say, probably I might say, performance reflects, or I might say, performance can be defined as, I might say, okay, from the discussion from the scholars, from the definition, or let me say, from the discussion, you can put it anyhow, of the scholars above, performance can be defined as the revelation, or no, as the projection of the strength and ability of organization to keep existing. To keep existing, which is linked to their finances. Now, I might now say it shows if an organization is making profit or loss. You understand? And then the discussion will keep flowing. We keep flowing like that, falling into places like that. Now I will move to another paragraph. If there is another thing that another person says, I might now say, in the opinion of Ezekiel, (2019), performance is whatever he said. Do you understand? And you keep linking what different authors have said and researched on your concept like that. And there is something you must understand. You must make sure that your paragraphs are linking together. They are being linked, they are flowing, so that whenever your readers are reading them, it will make sense to their ears. And once you are done, you move to other variables and you begin to discuss like that. This is just an illustration. I will bring a typical example for you so that you can see how concepts can be discussed in a way that flows together. Another thing that I want you to understand while you are writing your concepts or your work, run away from plagiarism, please. Don't copy from A and come and paste here. Copy from B and come and paste in your work. Copy from C and come and paste in your work. What you are using, whenever you are using the work of another scholar, is that you are reading to understand what they said. And you are now writing what they said in your own understanding, while you are still citing them. Because your understanding, your knowledge, your idea of what you are writing about comes from what they said. So it is very wrong for you to pick the work of different authors together, you combine them together, and then you just paste them inside your work. You do copy and paste. It is what we call academic fraud, and that's what we call plagiarism. Please note, whatsoever you are writing, whenever you are writing, understand and master this skill of writing. Read to understand. Read extensively to understand, and now put them down in your own words based on the way you understand them to be. Another thing that is quite important that you need to take note of while writing is that start with your understanding on the concepts. We've read that. We've discussed that. Then number 3, bring what different authors have said together. We've demonstrated that here. What different authors have said, you bring them together. What Adebowale said, which is linked to what Olarewaju said. On the contrary, if what Adebowale said is different from what Olarewaju said, for instance, after what Adebowale said, I might write what I understand here. I might write it here, and then I might now want to now bring in contrast that this is what Olarewaju said. I might now say, contrarily, you understand? By introducing contrarily, that is a negative word. A word that digresses from what the first author has earlier said. I will now say that this is the way it put it. The way I understand, I will also talk about it and discuss. Do you understand? Okay. The next thing, compare and contrast what has been said. We've shown our comparison. We've shown our contraction too. We've compared. When I said earlier on, in the same way, so implying that is they are saying the same thing. And then I bring out what I understand and I'm writing. And if their opinions on that particular concept differs for one another, from each other, or from one another, assume you are bringing 2, 3, or 4, you are bringing 3 or 4 authors together, and you are bringing what they are said together, or probably you are not comparing them together. You understand? You are contrasting them together. Then you will reflect whatsoever they say that contradicts, and you will look for a way to channel them together in order to reveal the beauty of what they say. Now, if now peradventure any of them now go in-depthly, because that is how concepts are always are. You bring the introduction, now in-depth explanation. Because in your chapter 2, we said you are revealing in-depth explanation. Everything that has been said concerning a particular concept, that is what you are doing. That is what you are revealing in your work. Do you understand? So that is what chapter 2 is all about. We are still going to talk more about how to write, the rules to follow. Do you understand? Then what do we have here? Draw an inference from what existing authors have been said. Yes, you draw an inference from what existing authors has been said, as said earlier on. Now, this is for me trying to draw an inference. Inference is just trying to write out what you understand, and you are just trying to bring your own idea into what has already been said earlier on by other authors. What you understand and how it falls into what has been said. So these are the fundamental rules of what you need to understand while writing your conceptual review. I will see you in the next video where we are going to continue our discussion on conceptual review. Till then, please have a nice time. And if you are here to subscribe to this channel, please kindly do. Subscribe and turn on your notification button. Share with your colleagues so that they can also learn. See you in the next video.